morning. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to elders past and present. Welcome to National Nutrition Week, and thank you everyone for joining us on this sunny Sunday morning, at least in Sydney. We hope this event inspires your food choices throughout National Nutrition Week and beyond. In brief, the event's going to start off with an address by our President, Barbara Ward, followed by a message from the Honorary Matthew Kean, Minister of Energy and Environment in New South Wales. We will then continue with the much anticipated demonstration by Chef Sam May from the National Indigenous Culinary Institute, who will be cooking up a unique brunch with sustainable ingredients. If time allows, we will also be taking questions from the audience for both Chef Sam May and Mrs. Barbara Ward. So without further ado, let us begin. Barbara is a highly accomplished leader. She's the founder and CEO of Impact One, a not-for-profit but for purpose in the trade and investment both on and offshore. She's an avid public health advocate, and her passion for good public policy, like many others, stems from her experience that a strong economy is the basis of a just society, and she works tirelessly to that end. She's the president of Share SMI Incorporated, Nutrition Australia, New South Wales, and Lupus Australia, and sits on a number of boards, including New South Wales Government Clinical Excellence Commission, Lifeline, Studio Artis, Royal Rehab, and Australia Asia Business Council. She is the immediate past president of the Australia-India Business Council New South Wales and the Rotary Club of Sydney, and the former president of the Fundraising Institute of Australia. Her successful executive roles include Managing Director of Anglican Retirement Villages Foundation, Sydney Adventist Hospital Foundation, CEO Austcare, Financial Controller Lane Cove Council, Corporate Services Director New South Wales Crime Commission, and OPSM, to mention a few. Barbara is the recipient of many community and business awards, Westpac Telstra Businesswoman of the Year and Financial Review nominee. She has received New South Wales and Federal Government awards, Mental Health Service Award, Volunteer of the Year New South Wales North Shore twice, St. George, International Health Organisation, and nominee for State Award. She was also awarded the Paul Harris Fellow, Local Woman of the Year, Gem of Ku-ring-gai, and Woman of the Year Award nominee in recognition of her outstanding contribution and service to business, community, multiculturalism, and the health sector, to mention a few. Barbara, thank you for leading this event today.
Thank you, Adriana. I think, you've just used up all the time, but that was very generous. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Look, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you here this morning. I know it's Sunday morning and most of you have got busy family lives. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. On behalf of Nutrition Australia New South Wales board members, a warm welcome to all of you for Nutrition Week, which commences today, including World Food Day on the 16th. A special welcome and thank you is also extended to all of you from our National President, Malcolm Jewell. Malcolm unfortunately couldn't be here because he did have another pressing event he had to be. A very special welcome to my dear friend, Craig Chung. Thank you, Craig, for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule to be here and for supporting Nutrition Week and your unwavering support for our organization. So thank you. We really do appreciate it very much. Unfortunately, Matt Kean could not be with us this morning, but he has kindly sent us a short video, which we will play in a few minutes. Can I quickly acknowledge and thank many federal and state members of parliament who could not attend but send their best wishes, just to name a few. Otherwise, I'll be here all day just mentioning all their names, but can I particularly acknowledge the following? Our Federal Minister for Health, Minister Greg Hunt, wishes us every success and supports our quest for healthy Australians. The Minister made a statement recently in relation to Dietitians Day, which is also relevant to Nutrition Week. The Australian government investment of most relevance has committed $2.5 million to NHMRC to review the 2013 Australian Dietary Guidelines to ensure that dietary advice is based on the best and most recent scientific evidence. Honourable Minister Brett Hazzard, Minister Adam Marshall, Minister Gareth Ward, Minister Victor Dominello, Natalie Ward MLC, Scott Farlow MLC, Alistair Henskins, my hardworking member for Coringa, and Mark Correa, member for Oatley. Most of you would know that Mark very generously hosts our event every year in Parliament House. I'd like to thank Mark personally for his amazing support to not only me, but to Nutrition Australia, and to share. We happen to be in this southern district. So Mark, if you are on or not listening, I want you to know that we so humbly appreciate all you do for not only for us, but the community. Our special thanks to our supporters, Nara Bingen. That's the garden we're going to do on the Tuesday. The Star and John Stewart in particular, Lifestyle Medicine, Gary Edgar from Health Science, Southern Cross University, UTS, University of Sydney, CSIRO, Tribal Warriors, Posh Centre for Indigenous Health, Danone, City of Sydney, Sydney Markets, Kellogg's, Happy Snacks, and the Australian Almonds, to mention a few. Before I forget, let me just say a huge thank you to my team, the NSW, Andriana, Laura, Selena, and a team of volunteers who've made this week possible, even though they are so busy with their final studies at the university. Well, grow well, eat well, save well. These are the words behind Nutrition Australia's theme, My Plate, My Planet. As we all try for 5 in 2020, My Plate, My Planet inspires each of us to fill our plates with sustainably grown vegetables and nutritious food through economical shopping and cooking to improve health of ourselves and our environment. Today, we are excited to present Plate for the Planet, Sustainable Foods Cooking with Chef Sam May from National Indigenous Culinary Institute, and we'll hear about Sam in just a little while. Sustainable eating is defined as protective and respectful of biodiversity and ecosystems, culturally acceptable, accessible, economically fair and affordable, nutritionally adequate, safe and healthy, while optimizing natural and human resources according to FAO, and is a key part of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Did you know that with an average, Australians discarding 1 in 5 grocery bags of food, and up to 40% of fruits and vegetables never make it onto the supermarket shelves? A sustainable approach is clearly needed for our farms to our fork. Sustainable food is a way for the future. As a state and a country, we need to empower not only to eat healthier right now, but fill our plates with fresh produce and whole foods, but also ensure food supply and environment is preserved for generations to come. Nutrition Australia New South Wales encourages us to look to our own backyard. Wattle seed, bush tomato, Davidson plums, and lemon myrtle are just some of the earthy, flavored packed foods we have at our fingertips, and they are bursting, it seems, with essential nutrients. Foods such as these have been tended to by generations of Indigenous families and communities utilizing traditional food growing processes, which not only care for the land, but provide valuable economic benefits to these communities. The use of native Australian ingredients by chefs and cooking shows is on the rise. And what about the Australian households? As we look forward to the future, we know that food on our plates has the power to change our health and our planet. Join us in our campaign for sustainable, healthy, and accessible food systems to reduce waste and embrace our Indigenous flavors and community. Can I just say this? For me, from our cultural background, food is the basic thing that we gather around for. Food is basic for human beings. Food is love. Food is feast, a family cooking for children. Food is community. Food is life, an essential component of healthy nutrition and physical and mental development. Food is happiness, and for kids, it's joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. We're now just going to watch a video that was shared with us by the Honorary Matt Kean.
G'day, I'm thrilled Barbara has asked me to join you for Plate Up for the Planet. As Minister for the Environment in New South Wales, I know we waste way too much food. In fact, Fresh food produce accounts for 33% of total food waste in New South Wales. And 40% of our fruit and veggies don't even make it on the shelves. We need to encourage more Australians to eat fresh fruit and vegetables. Don't let them go to waste. It not only protects the environment, but it also improves your health. If you are following this week's theme of Try for Five, why not look at where your fruit and vegetables come from? Fill your plate with sustainably grown vegetables and nutritious foods. We need to protect our planet, and we can do this one step at a time. So make a change to improve your health and the environment.
Such a lovely message. Thank you. And now for our most important event of this morning. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Chef Sam May from the National Indigenous Culinary Institute Limited. And I can't thank Nathan Lovett enough for all his support as well. Sam, please forgive me if I get the pronunciation wrong. Sam May is a Baladong of Noongar, Budja and Gidja man from Perth in Western Australia. He has a passion for showcasing his skills developed and would like to encourage more Indigenous people to showcase their talents within the culinary world. Growing up in Perth, there was the opportunity to become a sheep shearer, but he wanted to be a mechanic. And this is what spurred him on to move to Melbourne in 2016 with nothing but 2 bags to his name. He started off instead as a store person, then became a stevedore before trying his hand at cooking and commenced his studies at the William Angus Institute. He came into contact with the National Indigenous Culinary Institute and went on to complete his apprenticeship with Napoli's Wine Bar and the European Group, Kirk's Wine Bar and French Saloon, working under the keen eye of Ian Curley and Todd Moses. From working at 5 five-star restaurants to Friday's bush food experience after an hour's tour through the botanical gardens, Sam presents guests with foods incorporating the plants to promoting and advising budding Indigenous chefs. Sam continues to honour his heritage and cooks damper at home for his wife. Gone are the days of hunting western red kangaroos with his dad. Instead, he purchases kangaroo meat from the chicken pantry in Queen Victoria Market. Now he's nurturing his passion for native ingredients and exploring horticulture, all the while connecting with his heritage and family. Sam demonstrates that with hardship or in the face of adversity, you can achieve many great things if you want. Ladies and gentlemen, there is so much to Sam, and I encourage you to read about him. I will be posting a link to his story in the chat box soon. Sam humbly agreed to be with us this morning, so let's now welcome Chef Sam May.
Hello, I'm Sam May. How you going? Today we're going to be doing a dish, just a small quick kangaroo dish I like to do. With the native ingredients I'm going to be using, I've got rosella flowers here. I got these from a place called Dan Murphy's, usually as a garnish for sparkling champagne, but being in Melbourne in a lockdown, that's the only place I can go and get it from. Here I've got native pepperberry, and I also got the dried up leaves of the pepper leaf bush, and I'm going to be using that to season my kangaroo with. Also got saltbush, which I've grown from my own garden, and I've got some macadamia nuts here as well. So first off, I'm going to start off with my sweet potato. I've just had that in the oven cooking for about an hour, and as you can see, it's nice and cooked. Just got to peel the skin off and put it in a pan like so. And feel free to ask any questions as I'm doing it. So makes it a bit more relaxed as well. Just like so. I like using sweet potato, especially with this dish, because I like the colour of it. I like the nutritional value of it, and it's nice.
You're very fast there, Sam.
Sorry, I'll slow down a little bit.
No, it's all good, but it's terrific. It's just that when my husband is doing something, peeling, he's like...
Yeah. Put that to the side. And I'm going to add in some coconut cream. I get in premium quality coconut cream, just like that, back in the pan, get that on.
You get that, the coconut cream, do you get that in the bottle from supermarket or?
I've got this one in a tin.
Right.
Just a look at the brand. That's the brand. I just put it in a jar to give it a mix so I don't get any surprises when I go to pour it. Because usually we'll have the water sitting at the bottom and then the cream at the top. So I just put it in a jar, give it a nice mix so I don't get surprised with anything. And just in there, just a bit of butter. I like to use coconut cream with the sweet potato. It's got a nice rich fatty element to it. And it's going to break down the gaminess of the kangaroo really well. Just get that in the pan. And at this stage, it's a bit of salt. And a bit of pepper leaf. So this is a good substitute for pepper from the same bush as the pepperberry, but the leaves are a bit more sweeter. They don't add a colour to it. It's a good substitute for pepper. And you find it growing in the mountains around like Melbourne. This one's from Mount St Leonard, but you can also find it in the Macedon Ranges, in the Yarra Valley, Dandenong Ranges. It's everywhere.
Sam, it's Craig Chung here. I'm in Sydney, and I probably won't be able to go and find that sort of stuff. Where can I buy things like the pepperberry?
You can go online. There's a lot of Indigenous suppliers. Can't quite think of them off the top of my head. You put me right on the spot.
Yeah, but mostly online, is it?
Yeah, mostly online. Yeah, that's the way to get it from everywhere else. I mean, I've got a special contact in Hillsville. I got this stuff off, and yeah, but online mainly you can get them from there's a supply in Adelaide. Yeah. I think there's also an Indigenous supply based in La Perouse as well. Yeah.
And Nathan's just posted something for us all saying 2 providors in Marrickville, so that's cool.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Nathan.
Hi, Nathan. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Look, hey, thank you. Thank you for getting us all sorted with this. I really appreciate your support and getting Sam for us.
That's okay. My pleasure. It was lucky that Sam was available.
Yeah, very lucky.
I'm in lockdown in Melbourne, so I didn't have much better things to do.
Oh, well, your misfortune is our fortune then.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Groundhog Day every day here. I even forgot it's Sunday because tomorrow morning will be Monday and I'll be doing the same thing as I did today. So yeah, go for a walk for an hour, chill out. Right, so I just got that bubbling away. I just want all the flavours to come together and emulsify it, and I'm going to blitz it up in this jar. So while we'll do that, these are the kangaroo portions I've got. I'm going to be using one for this dish because I think having too much kangaroo is going to take away from the different elements I've got going on. Just one. Just a minimal amount of oil. You don't want too much. And it's a very lean kangaroo. And I think in terms of the future, when it comes to farming and stuff like that, there's a lot less carbon emissions coming out of kangaroo than you do with your farms, like your cattle farms and all that. You know, this is wild. You go out and shoot it, you just use a ute. Whereas, you know, modern farming, you know, you got all these different trucks and all that, so carbon emissions, you know, a lot less with kangaroo. So I think it's better for the environment. I'm just going to season with a bit of the pepper leaf.
Sam, would you be able to use any kangaroo cut for this type of dish, or do you have any recommendations?
Mostly loins. You know, it's because I'm cooking it, you know, about medium or medium rare. You want to use something small. If you use the tail on that, you want to sort of stew that and cook that for as long as you can. Any sort of like up a fire, you want to cook for a bit longer, but this is a nice, quick, easy meal. You don't want something too big, so this is just loin. I've just got a nice small one there. And a little salt. Always season your proteins. And that's going to give it nice.
So Sam, do you do some work in Sydney?
No, not full on work in Sydney. I've actually hardly ever go to Sydney, but I'd like to go there more and be a part of, because I think Sydney, especially with this COVID stuff, is just marching on ahead in terms of hospitality and what's happening. There's so much happening in Sydney at the moment. It's crazy.
Oh, well, you're always welcome here.
Yeah, I was actually I'm from Perth and all of that. Grew up in Perth, but I was actually born in Sydney, in a little place called La Perouse.
As an organisation, we're planning on having Sam up in Melbourne. Up in Sydney from Melbourne as much as we can once the border is changed. It's really important for us to have him involved.
It's going to add a bit more butter to it, just to give it a bit more shine.
Nathan, I have a question from Melissa. I don't know if you know. She's asking if the online vendors post nationally. She's located in Broome.
Oh, is that Melissa?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my sister. So what was she asking?
If the online providers post nationally.
Yes.
Yep. It just depends on how big the business is. Two providors distribute to overseas buyers, restaurants. I think they would most
Okay, that's all done.
Sorry, Nathan, you can talk now with the noise is finished.
Two Providors is one of the largest providers. They supply a lot of restaurants, so they'll around the country pretty easily, I think. I'm just checking to see if I can find one more locally to Broome for you, Melissa.
Hello, Melissa. Welcome, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for supporting Sam.
Yeah, no problem. It's amazing watching Sam in action. But yeah, it's a good way to do and how he can do it. And I've never done sweet potato with coconut and kangaroo before, so I'm watching with lots of interest.
That's
really good. It's a good sort of match. I found that the sweet potato, the coconut cream really cut through the gaminess of the kangaroo. So that's why I do those two together. Now, I don't like, I mean, in terms of nutrition, I don't like drinking dairy milk. I just find like doesn't work for me. So coconut cream is a alternative. You can use soy milk and almond milk, but it's just going to have a nutty flavour to it. Whereas a coconut's a nice rich fattiness to it. It's a good substitute. Alright, so I'm just going to get my pan nice and hot. Not overly too hot. I just want to get a quick seal. So I've just seasoned one of my loins. I'll use the other one as a backup. This is quick and easy. I'm going to have to put the exhaust on because it creates a lot of smoke. Can you guys hear me all right? Just want to get it out nice and hot. Just going to turn it off because I can't. It's good to talk while I'm doing this. So when you're cooking kangaroo, if you want that hard seal but you want it to remain juicy, literally put on, and you just got to count for yourself 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds, give it a turn. Because it's so lean and so gamey, I don't want the juices to leak out of it. So I'm just going to seal it, so it keeps them nice and trapped.
So I'm glad you mentioned it doesn't have much fat, because I think I was reading somewhere that it has less than 2% of fat in it, and it's very lean.
Yeah, it's the leanest protein you can get off an animal in the blood, I reckon. The next one I could think of would be venison, in terms of how you cook it and stuff. Venison and kangaroo are very similar. So I've got that nice and sealed. I'm going to hit it with a bit of butter. Too much. I just want to get that, add that sort of, inject that fattiness from the butter into my lean bit of kangaroo, so it just stays nice and moist. Roll with it.
If anyone has any questions, please put it on the chat, or put your hand up, and we'll get you to ask the questions.
I'm still getting a nice sort of sparkiness on the kangaroo, but you don't want to overcook it. The worst thing you can do is overcooking. Once you get to that point, you're better off just chucking them in a stew and just braising it for a few hours, and it comes nice and tender.
Sam, do you know there are many Indigenous chefs now, and more up and coming?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few up in Sydney, as well as Melbourne. There's more chefs out there than you think. I think the main goal of NICI, the National Indigenous Culinary Institute, is to put chefs into really good restaurants and look after them that way. And I think it's not for everybody, but more time the program that it puts into it, you get some really good results out of that. I know a few chefs personally and stuff in Melbourne who are Indigenous, but there can definitely be a lot more. Alright, so that's about done. Just going to rest it. I want to just got it resting in a bit of alfoil, just keep it warm. And with all those juices left in the pan, I want to get that back again, so I'm just going to pour it through it.
Sam,
I don't want to race.
Sorry, Kelsey had a great question. Just like rosemary is a great herb to cook lamb with, what do you suggest is the best herb, or your favourite at least, to cook kangaroo with?
I was going to say rosemary. It depends. I think I like kangaroo just pretty much with salt and pepper. Any herb I will put. I do like saltbush as a garnish. I think rosemary is a really nice herb to have with kangaroo. But there's so many out there, like, you got river mint, you got orange thyme, you got native thyme. I think the other thing is really good with roux is gelatin wax, which is it's like these little flowers and the stems of them you can actually eat. I think I might actually have one for you. Just give me a second. So I got these guys. These are gelatin wax, little flowers. And you can actually eat those green stems. They grow around the gelatin region, like northwest region of Perth. And they're called gelatin wax. You buy them in the flower shop. They sell them for the decorative stuff, but you can actually eat these green stems, and they're really good for everything. Okay. So, just gotta wash this pan. Give me a second. So yeah, have you got any other questions while I'm heating up this pan?
I was just going to say that your daughter's very quiet, and we don't hear anything.
Yeah, she's asleep. So, I mean, I'm very lucky. She's a good sleeper. So here at Broccolini, I've just taken off the woody bits. I like broccolini as a green, that and asparagus, because it's just so quick and easy to cook, but you're never disappointed by it. And I just like to cook it straight on the pan. I don't like to boil it. So I like to cook it in the pan, so it just gets a nice charcoal effect to it. And I also got a bit of garlic. I've got a bit of macadamia nut. So here's my puree that I've made. So nice and smooth.
And are the Australians more receptive to the Indigenous food and kangaroo meat now?
Yeah, I think 10 years ago it was only just coming out in shops, in Coles and IGA and stuff. I do prefer to go to the chicken pantry in Queen Vic Market. They've just got more range. You can buy tail from there, you can buy a whole thigh, whatever you want. You can get. I think when I was getting the kangaroo from Coles, I even saw a crocodile sitting next to it. So yeah, there's heaps new stuff coming through. I think in terms of sustainability, people are looking for answers, and they're going to the traditional methods of what my mum used to do back in the day, because it lasted for like 80,000 years. I think you're looking into the past for the answers for the future, which I find is good. Right, so I just got my broccolini in there. Just gonna basically just cook it. Bit of salt. Just a minimal amount of pepper, because I am going to add a bit of the pepperberry over the top. Pepperberry really got a really nice heat to it. It'll bring a tear to your eye if you just add it raw. Oh, cool. Going to let them cook. Everything.
Looks very nice.
Yeah, I'm a little bit OCD. I like to touch and make sure everything's straight. How many viewers have we got watching from home?
We had about 45 people registered, and we're getting people coming on. I think some of them are just waking up or doing something else.
Oh, right.
So Sam, do you guys incorporate a lot of vegetables with your meat?
Yes, I mean, when I was young, I used to just eat meat, but now that I'm getting older and I've got a daughter, I'm incorporating a lot more fruits and vegetables into my meals. There was a stage after I had my wisdom teeth taken out that I went full vegetarian for a while, so it was quite a good challenge to eat a plant-based diet. But in the end, I went back onto meat. All right, so that's nearly cooked. I'm just going to hit it with some garlic I chopped up. I want to cook that garlic through, but I don't want to burn it. So as it turns brown, I'm just going to hit it with a bit of water. Just so I can cook that broccoli all the way through.
We have another question from Kelsey. She's asked, have you ever done a wild collection for your ingredients?
Back in the day when I was younger, growing up with my dad, yeah, we'd go out, go hunting kangaroo, and also find like different bush medicines you can have whilst out bush. But in terms of like, since I've been living in Melbourne, not as much as I'd like. But it would definitely a change coming. You know, I've stopped working in commercial kitchens just for a while while I help raise my daughter. So definitely when lockdown is done, I'm going to do a bit more stuff around native ingredients, and that'll include foraging and stuff like that. It'd be nice to learn about what this side of the country has to offer.
Sam, has the Victorian Health Department been in touch with you and sort of try and talk to you about the health promotion unit and how they can help you how you can help them?
Yeah, I haven't been in touch with that side yet. I'm still getting my own little niche in the world. But if they definitely come knocking on my door, I'll definitely answer it. Yeah. All right, here's the kangaroo. I've just rested out a nice amount of time. It's quite small, but it's very nutritious. It's going to keep you going for the whole day. It's going to kind of get the screen. So still very rare in the middle. That's a bit too pink for me, but in the restaurant world, I love that. So just gonna plate.
Just while you're plating that, Sam, Naina, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, has a good question. What is your vision for Indigenous appetite in mainstream Australia, and how can we get behind it?
Well, I think I just consume. You know, as a consumer, you can support native ingredients by buying Indigenous ingredients off Indigenous people and build that economy up. I think in terms of tourism, it's just going to jump ahead because a lot of people I know who've moved over here from other countries, this is what they expect to eat. And when they come, they're a little bit underwhelmed with what native foods are out there in restaurants and that. So I think, you know, in terms of the future of Indigenous food in Australia, it's going to be a massive thing in the future. All the restaurants are doing it. You know, people at home are now starting to cook with native ingredients. So I think it's only just going to skyrocket. It's not going to be shrimp on a barbie anymore, I'm afraid.
I'm going to jump on the back of that, Sam. We had some interesting conversations this week about this. And when you look at a restaurant and you look at the type of cuisine and it says Australian cuisine, but then what's Australian cuisine? And it's not exactly what that perception is, especially people from international background. You would think it would be more, more native induced or influenced, and it's not. And that's certainly where a lot of restaurants are starting to play in that space. I know in Melbourne, there's Ben Shui with Attica and a range of different restaurants who have heavy influence from native Australia. And as an organisation, our focus, apart from creating great chefs like Sam, is also to influence the ingredients that you use in the restaurants that we work with, and hopefully that'll also influence the terminology of Australian cuisine and what Australian cuisine actually is, which should be a more native influence, using native ingredients, more sustainable, more tasty, more Australian as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So here I've got my rosella flowers. Because I put the syrup back into the juice pan and heated it up a little bit, it's nice and thick. So that's going to be like a little bit of a sauce. Just put that straight on the kangaroo. Stick that around. Just going to hit my broccolini with some macadamia nuts, give it that crunch, give it that wow factor. That's straight on the side. And with that, I'm going to hit it with a bit of pepperberry. Let's give it that nice pepperiness, and then just go around, not too much. You literally only need a pinch at a time. Let's finish it off with a salt push. Okay, I'll just grab the camera and I'll move it onto the plate. Can everyone see that all right?
Looks great.
Oh, that is yummy.
Yeah, sweet. It's just a nice casual, bit more on the lunch end of brunch, but it's something that I love eating. And just, yeah, glad you guys liked it. We got time for more questions?
Sam, will you be able to share that recipe with us?
Yeah, I can email you the recipe guide to it if you like.
Yeah, that'll be lovely. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions from anyone on? No. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't have any questions, can I firstly say, Sam, thank you so very much. That was amazing. But I will now invite Councillor Craig Chung to give our vote of thanks. Craig Chung was elected to the City of Sydney in September 2016. Prior to, that's all right, I just thought I was on Zoom. Mute then. Craig served 4 years as a councillor in the City of Ryde Council. Craig is a small business innovator in the hospitality and education sectors. As a business turnaround specialist, Craig has seen the best and worst of government intervention in business. Craig believes that red tape, overregulation and inefficiency are the worst attributes of government impacting small business. As a councillor, Craig is committed to ensuring Sydney is a prosperous, healthy and successful city with a socially responsible heart. Economic prosperity and homelessness are not mutually exclusive issue. Planning and development should not be considered in isolation from health and housing policy. A holistic approach to policy is critical, he says. Craig is passionate about ensuring Sydney is digital ready to become a smart city, ensuring residents, business owners, workers and visitors are equipped with the information and tools to prosper in the revolution that is smart cities. As a fourth generation Chinese Australian, Craig's family have had continuous connection to Sydney since 1882 from the Rocks to Chinatown and now Darlinghurst, where Craig's office is located. Craig shared a proud day with his dad recently, who was honoured with an award by the Australian government. Craig is married with 2 children. He has a degree in communication, psychology and law. If you have not met Craig, I suggest you do. He is a hardworking City of Sydney councillor with a positive outlook and a helping hand for all. Please welcome Craig.
Thank you, Barb, and it's a bit embarrassing to listen to that. This today is not about me. This is about actually the Nutrition Australia's event, and what a fabulous launch. It's very unusual. You know, I've been to your launches at Parliament House, hosted by Mark Curray, and when I look at that food produced by Sam, I just think, gee, I wish I was sitting there right now, because I think I could eat that any time of the day. That was absolutely amazing. So, look, you know, I wouldn't. Firstly, I mean, let me start at the beginning, Barb. I want to thank you because, you know, not only are you the president of Nutrition Australia, New South Wales, you do so many things for our community. You work so very, very hard to make sure that the community is connected, that we are healthy. I know that your work with lupus is very, very important. But the blending that you've done today, bringing together Nutrition Australia's vision for, you know, Try for 5, and then looking towards sustainability, and then blending in Indigenous food and having Sam present, that is just absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much, Barbara, for bringing us all together and doing that work. Of course, thank your team. They've done an amazing job. I'm going to also say thanks to Nathan Lovett, because Nathan really was able to not only bring Sam for us, but also chime in today with all of those great tips about where we can get our herbs And Nathan, you've inspired me. I'm planting out my garden at the moment. I've got traditional herbs and spices. What I don't have is my warrigal greens and my salt bush. So you've pointed me towards Indigrow. So I'm heading down there this week, I think, to get some seeds for that. But especially I want to thank Sam. Sam, that was absolutely brilliant. You know, you had people there. Well, if they were anything like me, and I think they were, I was leaning over trying to look into the pan as you cooked there. And you know, some of us get a bit tired with some of the things we're doing with just ordinary everyday cooking. And when I see that is just simple ingredients done well, and your knowledge of food and Indigenous food, not only from your time with your dad in Western Australia, which I'd love to hear that story as well, but you know, when we asked where you get them from, you knew the locations in the hills around Melbourne. It was just fabulous. And you know, I think this whole idea of we're looking to buy locally but grow locally, and you know, you've really inspired me, and I think a lot of people out there. So Sam, thank you so much for what you presented to us today. It was really amazing. And while I'm here, I just want to talk about a couple of events that are coming up this week for Nutrition Week, National Nutrition Week. On Tuesday, if you want to hear more about those, the herbs and the gardens, the tour of Yarrabinjan at Everleigh there, the rooftop garden of Indigenous foods is just extraordinary. So that is going to be an amazing tour there. And that's going to be led by Tracy Harder from Wattleseed Nutrition. She's an Indigenous dietitian. So that's on Tuesday at 12 to 1. I know Adriana's going to put up some links about how you can link for that, register for that. And then the one on Friday is really a great combination. Now we've got some well-known faces there. We've got, you know, Ken White, who's the federal Indigenous Minister. Warren Mundine, very, very well-known Indigenous Australian man. Nicole Turner, she's an Aboriginal nutritionist, and she's adjunct professor in nutrition and dietetics at University of Canberra. But they're all really special. But I'm really, really looking forward to seeing Callum Hand from MasterChef and what he's going to do with some of those things. And that's going to close off National Nutrition Week. So those links there, Adriana's putting it to everybody now that you can join in those things. And really, this is quite easy, because if it's hard to get to Yarrabinjan to have a look at that garden, come on Tuesday online and have a look, because it's really, really special gardens. So thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Sam for all of the inspiration.
Thank you, Craig. Now, can I say thank you to all of you for making time today, for being here. Sam, it was absolutely wonderful. Nathan, thank you so much for making this happen. Without you, I would not have got Sam, so I'm eternally grateful. Thank you for all of you who've made time this morning to be part of it. Thank you very much, Councillor Craig. Thank you for being with us. To all my team who've worked behind the scenes, I look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday or on Friday. In the meantime, have a lovely day and a week ahead, and we will share that recipe with you as soon as it becomes available. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, Barb. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.